The golden trap. The morning sun streamed through the kitchen window, lighting up the wooden table. Wingtip sat on the edge of a checkered napkin, rubbing his front legs together and looking for a snack. Everything was quiet and still in the big, warm house. High above on the counter, a glass jar of honey sat near the edge. A sudden breeze from the window gave it a tiny nudge. Wingtip watched from below as the jar began to tilt, moving slower and slower until it finally tipped over. The jar landed on its side with a soft thud. The lid popped open, and a slow, heavy river of golden honey began to flow across the table. It smelled like 1,000 summer flowers, sweet and thick. Wingtip couldn't believe his luck. Just as Wingtip was about to take a sip, his friend Alara zoomed down from the ceiling. She had smelled the sweetness from across the room. "Is this all for us?" She buzzed with excitement, circling the golden lake. "There is enough for everyone," Wingtip shouted. He didn't want to wait a second longer. Instead of staying at the safe edge, he dived right into the middle of the pool, landing with a tiny splash in the deepest part of the sweetness. Alara didn't want to be left behind. She saw how much Wingtip was enjoying himself and decided to join him. She landed right next to him, her feet sinking deep into the warm, sticky syrup. They began to feast, thinking only of the sugar. After a few minutes, Wingtip decided he had eaten enough. He tried to lift one leg to walk away, but the honey held on tight. He pulled and heaved, but the sticky sweetness acted like glue, pinning his feet to the table. Alara saw Wingtip struggling and tried to fly up to help him. She flapped her wings with all her might, but in her greed, she had let the honey smear across her back. Her wings were stuck fast to her body, and she couldn't even make them quiver. The two friends looked at each other, trapped in the very thing they had wanted so much. The honey was still sweet, but now it felt like a heavy weight. They had jumped in without thinking, and now they couldn't get out. Nearby, Silas the ant marched slowly along the very edge of the spill. He reached out, took one tiny drop of honey on his mandibles, and turned to walk away. He knew that a little bit of sweetness was a treat, but too much was a trap.